Every morning at the zoo, as the sun peeked over the trees, a small, energetic baby gorilla named Kima sprang to life. Kima was no ordinary gorilla. He had a heart full of playfulness and a spirit that bubbled with joy. His thick, dark fur shimmered in the morning light as he tumbled and rolled around in his cozy enclosure. The other animals, like the lazy lions and sleepy meerkats, would watch him with sleepy eyes, wondering what made him so lively. As the clock struck 9, Kima's routine would begin. Without fail, he would leap to his feet and scamper toward the fence that separated him from the visitors. His tiny feet thudded against the ground with excitement, and his little fingers gripped the fence tightly as he climbed up to get a better view. Each day, it seemed as if he was ready for an adventure only he could see. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you're watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. The zookeeper, Ms. Jane, had been watching Kima closely for weeks. She admired his playful spirit but grew curious about why he ran to the fence each morning. Was there something special there? She noticed how his big brown eyes sparkled when he reached the barrier and how he would chatter away excitedly. It was as if he were trying to share a secret with anyone who would listen. Ms. Jane loved her job and had spent years caring for animals at the zoo. She knew that every creature had its unique quirks. Yet Kima was different. There was something about him that pulled at her heartstrings. She would often find herself smiling while watching him, but today felt different. She sensed there was more behind those joyous leaps. As visitors began to filter into the zoo, children pointed and giggled at Kima's antics. They delighted in his playful swings and jumps. "Look, the baby gorilla is so funny," a little boy exclaimed, clapping his hands in glee. Kima would pause for just a moment to gaze at the children, as if he understood their joy and wanted to entertain them even more. Despite all this excitement, Ms. Jane felt a hint of mystery surrounding Kima's behavior. After observing him for several days in a row, she decided it was time to dig deeper into what lay beyond that fence. The intrigue of what could possibly draw Kima there each morning was too strong to ignore. With determination in her heart, Ms. Jane prepared herself for a closer look at Kima's daily ritual. She couldn't wait to discover what magic awaited at the other side of the fence that captivated her spirited little friend so much each day. The zoo was a lively place, filled with the sounds of chattering visitors and a chorus of animal calls. Brightly coloured banners flapped gently in the breeze, welcoming families eager to see the wonders of nature. The sun shone brightly, casting warm rays across the pathways where children skipped, alongside their parents, pointing excitedly at everything from towering elephants to slithering snakes. Kima's enclosure was situated near the heart of the zoo, surrounded by a vibrant collection of habitats. To one side, there were the playful otters splashing in their pool, while on the other side, majestic flamingos stood elegantly on one leg in a shallow lagoon. Just beyond Kima's area, the roaring lions lounged lazily in the shade, their golden fur shining like crowns in the sunlight. Each creature had its charm and distinct personality, yet none could capture attention quite like Kima. As Miss Jane walked through the zoo each morning, she felt a sense of pride in caring for such magnificent animals. She had spent years learning about their habits and needs, developing friendships with each resident in her care. Her brown hair was usually tied back neatly, and she wore her zookeeper uniform proudly. With a clipboard tucked under her arm, she made notes about feeding schedules and health checkups, while keeping an eye on the playful antics unfolding around her. On this particular day, however, her focus was entirely on Kima. She watched as he leaped from branch to branch within his enclosure, displaying a mix of curiosity and enthusiasm that radiated joy. His chubby cheeks puffed out as he made playful sounds that echoed through the air, a mixture of grunts and squeals that made anyone nearby smile. While observing Kima interact with his surroundings, Miss Jane couldn't help but notice how other animals reacted to him. The nearby meerkats peeked out from their burrows, their tiny heads bobbing in unison as they watched Kima's lively movements. The quiet gorilla next door occasionally turned its head, as if intrigued by Kima's infectious energy. As Miss Jane pondered what could be behind Kima's daily rush to the fence, what excitement lay just beyond his reach, she began to imagine all sorts of possibilities. Perhaps another animal had caught his attention, or maybe there was something special from the human visitors that sparked his interest every day. With determination building inside her heart, Miss Jane decided it was time to delve deeper into this charming mystery that enveloped Kima's morning routine. She knew there was something magical waiting to be discovered just beyond that fence. As the days continued, Miss Jane found herself increasingly enchanted by Kima's morning routine. Each time the sun rose, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange, Kima sprang into action with boundless energy. He would dash to the fence, his eyes wide with excitement as if he were waiting for an important visitor to arrive. His playful squeals echoed across the zoo, drawing attention and smiles from everyone nearby. Watching Kima day after day sparked a sense of intrigue in Miss Jane. She noticed that his behaviour seemed to have a rhythm. It was as if he expected something thrilling, or perhaps someone special, to appear at the fence every morning. What could possibly inspire such a routine? Was there a new friend on the other side, or maybe a hidden treasure that fascinated him? One warm afternoon, as she made her rounds to check on all the animals, Miss Jane decided to bring along her notebook and sketch out her observations. She closely watched Kima's actions and noted how he would leap up on his hind legs, peering through the thick mesh that separated him from the outside world. His little hands gripped the fence tightly as he looked out with uncontainable eagerness. During her observations, Miss Jane couldn't help but think about how much Kima reminded her of children who would rush towards something exciting, like when they see an ice cream truck or a clown at a party. The bond between humans and animals often revolved around joy and curiosity, and she wondered what specifically triggered that spark in Kima each day. She began asking visitors if they had noticed Kima's antics, and if they could see anything beyond the fence that might be capturing his attention. "I heard he runs over here every morning," exclaimed one young girl who visited often. "He's so funny. I think he's waiting for someone." As time went by, Miss Jane observed how Kima's excitement only grew stronger with each passing day, further deepening her desire to uncover what lay at the other side of that barrier. Maybe it was an animal or an object. Perhaps it was a person who caught his eye each time. Determined to find answers, Miss Jane resolved to spend extra time at the zoo during Kima's rushes to monitor any changes in his behaviour or surroundings. This daily ritual transformed into not just a job for her but a personal mission, one driven by curiosity and love for this delightful baby gorilla whose spirited enthusiasm stirred emotions in everyone who took notice of him. Whatever waited beyond that fence was bound to reveal an exciting truth about Kima's world, and perhaps redefine their understanding of connection between animals and humans alike. Each morning, as the first rays of sunlight streamed into the zoo, Kima's excitement was palpable. The baby gorilla embodied joy and enthusiasm, and it radiated from him like a warm hug. With his eyes sparkling and a playful grin plastered across his face, he would bounce around his enclosure, making quick little hops that resembled a dance. His fuzzy little arms swung wildly, and he often paused to strike silly poses, showcasing his lively personality. As soon as Kima spotted the familiar fence, his energy intensified. He would take off toward it, his tiny feet pattering against the ground in an adorable flurry. The sheer delight on his face as he ran was infectious. Anyone watching couldn't help but smile. With every bound he took, he seemed to shout, "Look at me! Look at me!" When Kima reached the fence, he would leap onto his hind legs, his small frame barely reaching above the barrier. He pressed his little hands against the mesh, peering through with wide eyes full of wonder. It was in those moments that Miss Jane truly appreciated the depth of Kima's personality. He embodied pure, childlike joy, a creature so full of life that it reminded everyone nearby of the excitement found in little things. Kima's playful sounds filled the air, happy squeals that echoed with innocence and laughter. He would chatter with enthusiasm, as if sharing stories about all the marvellous things he had seen that morning. His expressions were animated. His brows would furrow in concentration when he spotted something interesting, and then relax into deep joy when he saw other animals or visitors approaching. Visitors to the zoo were often enchanted by Kima's antics. Children would giggle and mimic his movements, trying to engage with the little gorilla as he leaned closer to the fence, hoping for a connection. Miss Jane even began to notice how Kima would respond to their laughter, hopping around even more energetically as if feeding off their excitement. As she observed him day after day, Miss Jane could sense that Kima wasn't just looking for something beyond the fence. He was seeking companionship and joy in sharing his world with others. His playful nature held a deeper message about connection, inviting everyone to join in on the fun. With each rush to the fence, Kima displayed not only his exuberance but also a remarkable understanding of interaction. He instinctively knew how to draw attention and cultivate happiness among those who paused to watch him. This charming baby gorilla became more than an animal in a zoo. He transformed into a beacon of joy that brought light to everyone's day, an innocent reminder of how vital playfulness and delight are in life. As word spread about Kima, the baby gorilla, more and more visitors flocked to the zoo each morning to witness his delightful antics. Families and children often gathered along the fence, their eyes glued to the lovable creature who seemed to bring joy with every leap and squeal. The atmosphere was filled with laughter. The spectators exchanged amused glances and chuckled at the lively little gorilla. "Look at him go!" a young girl exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement as Kima danced around his enclosure. She giggled and jumped up and down, mimicking his playful hops. Her enthusiasm spread like wildfire among the onlookers, making it a special moment for everyone present. Nearby, a group of children pointed and shouted encouragements, their voices rising in a chorus of support as they watched Kima perform his playful routines. "You can do it, Kima!" they cheered, as he twirled and swung from a low branch. It seemed he could sense their cheers, his energy intensifying with each clap and laugh that erupted from the crowd. Parents leaned in closer, snapping photos to capture Kima's joyous spirit. "We have to show these to Grandma," one dad said with a beaming smile, while he held his daughter up high to see better. Ms. Jane noticed that even the adults were captivated, sharing smiles as they reminisced about their own childhood experiences at the zoo. In another corner of the viewing area, an elderly couple observed Kima with warm hearts. "He reminds me of our grandson when he was little," the woman said fondly, her eyes lighting up with nostalgia. "So full of life." Her husband nodded in agreement, smiling as he watched Kima's playful nature unfold before them. As the day progressed, Ms. Jane could overhear snippets of conversation from various visitors discussing Kima's charming personality. "He seems so friendly," one young boy said to his mother as they watched him rush back to the fence. "I wish I could play with him." Amidst all the joy Kima brought to those who watched him, Ms. Jane felt a deep warmth fill her heart. She could see how Kima made connections with people without even trying. His innocent spirit created a bridge between animals and humans that brought smiles to faces of all ages. Kima wasn't just an attraction. He was a source of happiness that united visitors in laughter and awe. Each comment and shared story among spectators only reinforced the idea that joy comes from simple moments of connection and playfulness, an important lesson that everyone could carry with them long after leaving the zoo. In those precious moments spent watching Kima, visitors found not only entertainment, but also a reminder of life's simple pleasures. They were filled with gratitude for the opportunity to witness such a vibrant spirit, leaving them inspired to embrace joy in their own lives, just like Kima did every single day. As Ms. Jane continued to observe Kima's daily performances, her curiosity deepened. What was it about that fence that brought such unbridled joy to the little gorilla? Kima seemed to have an unwavering anticipation for something outside his enclosure every morning, and the zookeeper was determined to understand this mystery. One sunny afternoon, after finishing her chores, Ms. Jane made herself a mission. Ignoring her clipboard for a while, she chose to immerse herself in Kima's world. She moved closer to the fence and crouched down next to him, peering right alongside his curious gaze. She carefully watched as he pressed his small hands against the mesh and leaned forward excitedly. This time she looked beyond the fence more intently, scanning the area for anything that might capture Kima's attention. At first, there appeared to be nothing unusual, just the pathway where visitors walked by with ice cream cones and vibrant balloons. The space beyond seemed mundane, but Kima's exuberance told a different story. As he grunted and squeaked in excitement, Ms. Jane tried to replicate his focus on something just out of sight. Could there be a bird, she wondered, or perhaps a stray piece of colourful paper fluttering in the wind? Determined not to give up, she decided to ask fellow zookeepers if they had any insights into Kima's intriguing behaviour. "Have you ever noticed how he acts at this time?" she inquired of her colleague Tom as they cleaned the larger animal enclosures nearby. "Oh yes," Tom replied with a chuckle. "Every day it's like clockwork. He's got his fan club at the fence. But what draws him here? I wouldn't know." Ms. Jane felt motivated by their conversation and set off on a new plan. She would spend several mornings hidden at a safe distance with her binoculars instead of watching from behind her notes. She could observe without Kima feeling pressured or aware of her presence. On the next sunny morning, she settled behind some bushes near the fence when the zoo opened. With eager eyes on Kima, she felt her heart race as anticipation filled her for whatever discovery lay ahead. As time passed, Miss Jane spotted familiar faces coming towards Kima. Children who had visited almost daily began to arrive, bringing energy and excitement along with them. Their enthusiasm grew louder as they approached, evident through their shouts of encouragement and bursts of laughter. At that moment it clicked for Miss Jane. Kima wasn't simply drawn by curiosity. It was connection and companionship that drew him to the fence each day. He craved interaction with those who came to visit him, and found joy in their joyful cheers and playful remarks from afar. With this realization washing over her like sunlight breaking through clouds, Miss Jane felt a sense of gratitude for being part of this journey, and she couldn't wait to share the truth about Kima with everyone who loved him so dearly. One bright morning, as Miss Jane settled in her usual hiding spot behind the bushes, she noticed something unusual happening at the edge of the fence. Kima was bouncing with even more energy than usual, his eyes fixated on a small patch of grass just outside the enclosure. Intrigued, she leaned in closer, eager to discover what had captured Kima's undivided attention. At first glance, it seemed like nothing was there, but then Miss Jane spotted a flash of movement. A small creature darted across the ground. It was a fluffy little rabbit. The tiny creature paused momentarily, its nose twitching as it sniffed the air. Kima's excitement reached new heights. He hopped up and down, making happy squeals that echoed around the zoo. The rabbit seemed unaware of Kima's presence as it nibbled on some clovers just beyond the fence. Miss Jane watched as Kima pressed his hands against the mesh with a look of pure fascination on his face. He leaned forward, swinging his arms and making playful sounds to get the rabbit's attention. It was clear that this unexpected visitor had sparked a new type of curiosity in Kima. As days went by, the little rabbit became a regular visitor during Kima's morning performances. Every time it appeared, Kima would rush to the fence with joyful enthusiasm, eagerly awaiting its arrival. Miss Jane couldn't help but smile at how much delight this small creature brought to her lively gorilla. Kima's antics grew even more entertaining during these moments. He would mimic the rabbit's movements and bounce around as if trying to impress his furry friend. Each hop and squeal seemed to be an invitation for the rabbit to come closer. Though the rabbit remained cautious and stayed just out of reach, it created a delightful dance between them that made both animal and human observers giggle. Meanwhile, visitors began to notice this newfound dynamic too. Families who came to see Kima were now calling out about the rabbit as well. "Look, the gorilla has a friend," children exclaimed excitedly, while pointing at the little creature nibbling at grass near the fence. Ms. Jane realized that this innocent connection was more than just entertainment for Kima. It represented a deeper bond with nature itself, a reminder of how friendships can form in unexpected ways, even between species that wouldn't normally interact. As she watched Kima each day with renewed interest, Ms. Jane felt grateful that such simple moments could hold so much magic. The joy on Kima's face when catching sight of his fluffy friend brought warmth to her heart and urged her further into her mission, understanding not only what drew Kima to the fence, but also how connections, no matter how small, could brighten up even the dullest days for all creatures involved. With each passing day, Kima and his little rabbit friend became symbols of joy and companionship within the zoo, a beautiful reminder that sometimes life's greatest treasures come from unexpected encounters right outside our own fences. Intrigued by the connection between Kima and the rabbit, Ms. Jane felt inspired to learn more about how animals interact with one another, particularly in a zoo setting. She recognized that Kima's joyous behavior was more than just simple play. It reflected a profound understanding of companionship. With this motivation bubbling inside her, she decided to research animal behavior further and engage her colleagues in conversations about their insights. The following day at the zoo, after finishing her morning duties, Ms. Jane approached Tom again, her fellow zookeeper who had an affinity for animal studies. "Have you heard about Kima and the rabbit?" she asked with excitement sparkling in her eyes. Tom nodded enthusiastically as he sorted food for other animals nearby. "I have. They seem to have formed quite the friendship," he replied with a chuckle. "It's not uncommon for animals to interact across species. It just depends on their personalities and surroundings." Miss Jane listened intently as Tom shared stories of different creatures forming bonds that transcended their natural instincts, emphasizing the importance of social interaction for zoo animals. Intrigued by these anecdotes, Miss Jane decided it was time to dive deeper into her research. While enjoying her lunch that afternoon, she pulled out a few books and articles about animal behavior from the zoo's library. She read about various species displaying social behaviors, from grooming to playful interactions, which could be crucial for emotional well-being. Determined to keep learning, Ms. Jane scheduled short meetings with different staff at the zoo who had experience in animal interactions, such as the bird keeper and marine life expert, asking them questions about how interspecies relationships could thrive in captivity. Each meeting deepened her understanding and shed light on how critical social bonds were for animals' mental health. In between these discussions, Miss Jane frequently observed Kima and the rabbit during their morning rituals, noting changes in Kima's behaviour when his furry friend appeared. It became clear that not only did Kima thrive during these interactions, the populace noticed it as well. The vibrancy of life in the zoo amplified when they looked forward to witnessing this wonderful connection. Inspired by this newfound knowledge, Ms. Jane even created a plan to encourage more enriching interactions for all the animals at the zoo. She envisioned new enrichment activities that involved supervised meet and greets between various species during specific times, allowing them opportunities for play under safe conditions. As she approached her colleagues with this innovative idea, excitement blossomed among them like flowers after spring rain. They brainstormed ways to introduce more interspecies interactions as part of an initiative focused on enhancing animal welfare in captivity. With each step Ms. Jane took toward understanding not only Kima's delightful bond, but also animal companionship as a whole, she felt empowered by her mission to cultivate happiness among all creatures large and small within the zoo, a truly fulfilling endeavour that turned mere observation into meaningful action for every resident there. Among the many visitors at the zoo, there was a young girl named Lily, who had come with her family for a day of adventure. From the moment she arrived, her eyes sparkled with excitement as she dashed from one exhibit to another. However, it was Kima, the lively baby gorilla, who truly captured her heart. As she approached his enclosure and watched him bounce around playfully, Lily felt an instant connection to the joyful little creature. "Look at him, he's so funny," she exclaimed to her parents, pointing excitedly at Kima as he swung from a low branch and made silly faces. Each laugh and cheer from the crowd seemed to fuel Kima's energy, and Lily giggled uncontrollably at his antics. As she stood by the fence, mesmerized by Kima's exuberance, Lily noticed something special happening. Every morning, just like today, Kima would rush to the same spot on the fence and eagerly wait for something or someone to appear. Determined to learn more about this fascinating ritual, Lily began to watch closely. After a while, she spotted the fluffy rabbit hopping into view in the grassy area beyond the fence. Instantly recognizing that the rabbit had become Kima's special friend, Lily squealed with delight. "Mum, look! The gorilla has a bunny buddy!" Her enthusiasm was contagious, and her parents leaned in closer to see what had captured their daughter's attention. As days passed during their visit to the zoo, Lily became a regular observer of Kima and his fuzzy friend. She brought along her sketchbook to draw what she saw, Kima leaping joyfully and the rabbit nibbling on clovers. Drawing these moments allowed her creative spirit to flourish, while making sense of what unfolded before her eyes. During one of those visits, while sketching under a tree nearby, Ms. Jane spotted Lily immersed in her art. Intrigued by this dedicated little artist capturing Kima's playful spirit on paper, Ms. Jane approached her with curiosity. "I see your drawings. You really love Kima, don't you?" Lily nodded enthusiastically. "He's my favourite. I think he's waiting for his rabbit friend. They're like best buddies." Touched by Lily's insightfulness and passion for animals, Ms. Jane felt inspired by this young girl's perspective on Kima's interactions with the rabbit. It dawned on her that children like Lily might have their own unique interpretations of animal behaviour that could help bring more joy into their experiences at the zoo. After sharing ideas about how they could encourage more children to engage with animals through art and observation activities in future programs at the zoo, Ms. Jane recognised how important it was to foster such connections between young visitors and animals. As time went by, Lily became not only an enthusiastic supporter of Kima, but also an advocate for understanding animal relationships among other children who visited the zoo. She eagerly joined Ms. Jane in promoting awareness about interspecies friendships, reminding everyone that even small creatures can spark great joy through simple acts of connection. Together they celebrated companionship in all forms, proving that curiosity knows no age and that compassion can unite both young hearts and furry friends alike in delightful harmony at the zoo. One sunny morning, Miss Jane decided it was time to put her observations into action. She had been watching Kima and his rabbit friend for weeks, and although she knew their interactions brought joy to both animals and visitors, she felt there was still a piece of the puzzle missing. Today would be different. She was determined to discover exactly what captivated Kima so much at the fence. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Ms. Jane took her spot near the fence, closely observing Kima's behaviour. She noticed how he seemed to watch for something with unwavering anticipation. When the rabbit arrived, Kima jumped and squealed with delight, but there was still an air of mystery surrounding the whole event. Just as Kima began his playful dance, Miss Jane heard faint rustling sounds coming from behind a nearby bush. Intrigued, she turned her head slightly but stayed focused on Kima. The baby gorilla's excitement was palpable as he continued to bounce around, seemingly oblivious to anything else in the world. As she shifted her attention back to the fence, something in her peripheral vision caught her eye, a flash of colour darting through the grass beyond the enclosure. With her heart racing, Ms. Jane leaned forward, peering intently at what was unfolding just out of sight. To her astonishment, a colourful kite flew up into view. A child had been running with it along the path outside the zoo's fence, while enjoying a playful afternoon with family. The bright colours danced in the wind and drew Kima's curious gaze like a magnet. In that moment, everything fell into place for Ms. Jane. It wasn't just the rabbit that captivated Kima. It was also this unexpected burst of colour and movement that ignited his excitement every morning. The combination of his furry friend hopping around and the vibrant kite created an exhilarating atmosphere that left him eager for more. Kima rushed to the edge of the fence, clutching at it with tiny hands as his eyes shone bright with wonder. He bounced up and down with enthusiasm while emitting adorable sounds that echoed through the enclosure, his way of expressing pure joy at this unexpected surprise. Realizing this revelation changed everything for Ms. Jane. She understood now that fostering an enriching environment meant considering not just animal relationships, but also incorporating elements from their surroundings that could spark joy and curiosity. Inspired by this newfound knowledge, Ms. Jane quickly grabbed her notebook and jotted down ideas about how they could create safe play areas outside animal enclosures where children could fly kites or engage in similar activities that would invigorate both animals and visitors alike. With each passing moment spent watching Kima eagerly inch toward happiness, sparked by simple delights in life, Ms. Jane felt grateful for their bond, a connection forged by curiosity that could inspire countless others at the zoo. This unexpected discovery served as a reminder. Sometimes it takes looking beyond appearances to uncover what truly enchants us, whether we're human or animal, and bring vibrant joy into our lives in ways we never anticipated before. As the days went on, Kima's connection with the rabbit and the kite became a beautiful symbol of joy and companionship at the zoo. Ms. Jane watched in awe as Kima eagerly awaited their visits each morning, demonstrating the powerful bond that could develop in the simplest of interactions. The little gorilla's infectious excitement and pure delight served as reminders of what it meant to truly appreciate life's small wonders. Lily, the young artist who had been sketching Kima and the rabbit, continued to visit regularly. Each time she arrived, she brought her sketchbook filled with drawings capturing their daily antics, Kima's playful dance and the rabbit nibbling on grass under the shade of a nearby tree. Their friendship had blossomed into a charming routine that not only entertained the visitors but also deepened the sense of community around Kima's enclosure. One day, while Lily was drawing, Ms. Jane approached her with an idea inspired by their observations. "What if we organised a special event," she proposed, "where children could come and learn about the importance of friendship among animals? We could showcase Kima and his rabbit buddy as examples." Lily's eyes lit up with excitement. "That would be amazing! We can encourage everyone to bring art supplies and draw their favourite animal friendships." Together, they brainstormed activities that would promote appreciation for companionship across species, games that highlighted teamwork, craft stations to create animal-themed art, and storytelling sessions. On the day of the event, children gathered at the zoo, their laughter filling the air as they eagerly participated in the various activities. Kima watched with fascination as the children engaged together, drawing pictures and sharing their stories about animal friendships. To his delight, the rabbit made a special appearance too, happily hopping from one child to another, bringing smiles wherever it went. As Miss Jane observed the scene unfold, she felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. Children were connecting with animals in ways that were heartwarming and genuine. She realized that Kima, and all animals, had much to teach humans about companionship, communication, and understanding without words. During a moment of reflection, Ms. Jane gathered everyone around Kima's enclosure to share a message about friendship. Animals remind us how important it is to connect with one another, she began thoughtfully. Just like Kima finds joy in his friends, the rabbit and even you children, we too should cherish our friendships in all forms. The heartfelt connections nurtured during this event inspired many attendees to view the world with more curiosity and compassion. Children left with not only colourful drawings, but also memories filled with laughter and joy, the kind fostered through companionship that transcended species boundaries. Kima's journey had blossomed into something unexpectedly profound. He had become a catalyst for discovering what it truly meant to build connections with those around us. Through these shared experiences, he united both children and animals in delightful harmony, a precious lesson that would echo long after they walked away from the zoo that day. As the event drew to a close and the joyful sounds of laughter and excitement faded into the background, Miss Jane took a moment to reflect on all that had unfolded at the zoo. Kima, with his vibrant personality and enchanting connections with both the rabbit and the children, had become a remarkable focal point for understanding animal behaviour. Through observing him, she realised how essential it is to appreciate these moments of interaction that deepen our bonds with animals. Animals like Kima offer us a glimpse into their world through their behaviour. The way he eagerly awaited his rabbit friend and revelled in the presence of children showcased his understanding of companionship. Such interactions are not merely entertainment, they are profound lessons on connection and care. Each playful bounce and delighted squeal from Kima reminded everyone present of the joy that can arise from friendships, whether between humans or between species. Moreover, this experience taught not just Ms. Jane, but also everyone who witnessed Kima's story about the importance of attentiveness and curiosity. By taking the time to observe and understand animal behaviour, people can form meaningful relationships with creatures they might have otherwise overlooked. It emphasises that compassion transcends species boundaries and reinforces the idea that we all share this planet, deserving of love and connection. Lily's drawings became symbols of this newfound understanding, capturing not just Kima's antics, but also the essence of how joy can be found in simple acts of friendship. She inspired other children to look beyond appearances, urging them to see animals as companions rather than mere exhibits. This perspective fosters empathy among young minds, teaching them to value every life around them. Miss Jane envisioned how this event would ripple outward, encouraging more families to engage with nature in thoughtful ways. The zoo could become a place where children learned gratitude for all living beings, while cultivating respect for their ecosystems. She imagined educational programs focusing on different species' social behaviours, showcasing how they cooperate, communicate, and connect within their groups. Looking ahead, Ms. Jane knew these initiatives could take time. Planting seeds of understanding in children's hearts would grow over years into adults who appreciate and protect wildlife. The relationships forged between Kima, his rabbit friend, and all those who visited were just the beginning of a broader journey toward awareness. As she left the zoo that evening, Ms. Jane felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. Kima had taught her invaluable lessons about companionship and the power of observation, the importance of fostering joy in our lives through connections with others. With this knowledge in hand, she was excited to continue her mission at the zoo, ensuring that every creature feels valued and loved, while inspiring visitors to embrace the wonders surrounding them. In every corner of life, whether at a zoo or beyond, understanding animal behaviour can enrich our lives immeasurably, bringing about joy while reminding us that love knows no bounds when it comes to friendship among all beings.